Right, now we'll go on to the last sutta in this volume, SD 50.42, the Koma Dussa Sutta, the Koma Dussa Discourse, S 7.22. Right, the theme here is something like goodness in high places. Again, it's another short comment, if you like, a kind of social comment. This sutta is interesting in the sense you see the Buddha very observant of situations, social situations among religious people. You find, especially in organized religion, there are VIP sponsors and so on. And a common practice among Buddhists, among Asians generally, is to put your palms together. And this is a gesture of peace. It's called Anjali. When you put your palms together, you cannot carry any weapon. So in other words, this is a hand of peace. Both hands are together as one. Now the Western way is to shake hands. You give your right hand as a gesture of peace. Why the right hand? Because it's the weapon hand. So when it is a military gesture, you give your right hand, meaning it's a gesture of peace. So I'm not going to be violent with you, I have no weapon, right? So of course the other hand is free, so if someone is deceitful, he could have a weapon in the left hand, right? So shaking hands is not totally peaceful in that sense. Whereas if you put your palms together, both hands are together, it's a gesture of peace, and it is brought to the level of the heart, and you kind of direct this peaceful gesture to the other person, whether he's young or old, whether he's senior to you or junior to you. And this is a very important Buddhist kind of gesture of respect. And it's only proper the other person also reciprocate by putting the palms together. But interestingly, we don't see this happen all the time. For example, I mean, if you put your palms together to someone who sees himself as a VIP, he might not respond in that way. So you begin to see this kind of situation in organized religion. In fact, this is exactly the situation the Buddha got himself into. The Buddha was in Sakya land, in the town of Koma Dussa, where there are Brahmins, and they see him coming. The Brahmins are not very happy to see a Buddhist monk coming. So let's see what happens here. The Koma Dussa Discourse S 7.22. Thus have I heard. At one time the Blessed One was dwelling amongst the Sakyas, in a Sakya town called Koma Dussa. Now Koma Dussa means linen cloth. Then at dawn the Blessed One, having dressed himself, taking rope and bow, entered Koma Dussa for alms. By that time, the Brahmin house lords of Koma Dussa had assembled in the council hall for some business, and it began to drizzle. Okay, this is a very interesting sutta because we're talking about the Sakyas, but as you know, the Sakyas, they are Kshatriyas, they are nobles and warriors. But in this town, Koma Dussa, apparently they're all Brahmins. So you do, I'm not sure if they are Sakyas or not, but it says a Sakya town, so we assume they are Sakyas. So there are Sakya Brahmins, it seems. So, okay, these are the Brahmin house lords, and they have assembled in their council hall, the main meeting hall in their city or town, and thus drizzling. Then the Blessed One approached the council hall. The Brahmin house lords of Koma Dussa, seeing the Blessed One coming from afar, said, "Who are these shavelings, little recluses? Don't they know the house rules?" All right, so here we see the Brahmin saying some rather nasty remarks. Shavelings, right? This is what we locally would say bota. No? In other words, it's a word, kind of it's a scolding word, if you like. A little recluse, samanaka. Okay, samana is a respectful term, but samanaka means little recluse. So it's kind of a diminutive, but in this case, it's a disrespectful reference. So the Brahmins are not very happy to see the Buddha, And they say, don't they know the house rules? The house rules are this: no one enters by the front door, only these Brahmin house lords. Others who like to see the meeting, they have to come by the side door and so on. So they expect the Buddha to do the same. So those are the house rules. Now the sutta continues. Then the Blessed One addressed the Brahmin house lords of Komadusa in verse. So here again we see the Buddha always going up front, always taking up a challenge, not afraid to face even the mighty Brahmins. The Brahmins in the Buddha's time are used to the idea that they are the highest class, and everyone else will kind of like tremble before them or fear them, or at least kind of be nervous before them, and definitely would not dare to talk back to them. But here you see these Brahmins very haughty and angry and defiant. But here comes the Buddha, very peaceful, and telling them in a very gentle voice, a very sonorous voice. The Buddha says, there is no counsel where the good are not. They are not good who speak not Dharma. But having abandoned lust, hate and delusion, speaking Dharma, they become good. So here the Buddha, again using very simple words, hit right at the mark, which the Brahmins understand, every word of it. Here the Buddha speaks Brahmanical vocabulary, but ironically, the meaning is all Buddhist. The Pali version goes like this. Nesa sabha yata na santi santo, santo na te yena vadanti dhammang, raganchado sancha pahaya mohang, dhammang vadanta cha bhavanti santoti. Right, there is no counsel where the good are not. Here we have what's called apophatic language, using the negative form. It says, basically the Buddha is telling the Brahmins, now if you are in such a council, obviously you must be good people. Speak not Dharma. So, I mean, if anyone were to speak something angry, something insulting, something bad, it's not Dharma, it's not the proper thing to do. You're not keeping to the civil code, you're not keeping to the spirituality and goodness that you have inside you. Right? So these two lines are enough to, kind of make any intelligent Brahmin think about, we have to be civil, basically. Then the Buddha continues, but having abandoned lust, hate and delusion. Okay, now the Buddha goes on to a deeper level, to a Dhamma level. You have to abandon the three unwholesome roots, greed, hate and delusion. And speaking Dhamma, you become good. So it's as if the Buddha is challenging the Brahmin. He says, here's your chance to change. You can become good. When this was said, the Brahmin's house lord of Komadusa, they're very happy, so they kind of changed their minds. And the sutta simply says, well, they took refuge. They tell the Buddha, yes, this is wonderful, so we go for refuge to the three jewels. Please remember us. In this case, it's the plural. Please remember us as lay disciples as long as we live. So here again we see how the Buddha deals with a rather tacky social situation where you have class-minded people trying to look down on the Buddha because he's from a different caste, so to them in their minds. So this is where if we run temples, if we give talks in the temple, it's good to remind some of our older members, some of our VIP members, that they as Buddhists should be what the Buddha advised here in the S 7.22. There is no council, or if you like, there's no gathering, there is no society, there's no community where the good are not. They are not good who speak not the Dharma. But having abandoned lust, hate and delusion, speaking Dharma, they become good. So we have a chance to change when we join a community of Buddhists. So do reflect on these teachings for our greater happiness and happiness for our community and the future. Now let us close with a short reflection, and also to close this volume SD50B. It is such a joy and such a great gift for us to have the suttas still with us, and to be able to see how the Buddha shows his wisdom and compassion to the people before him, and also for our benefit, so that we can still learn from him that same lesson for the last 2,500 years. Reflecting in this way is very good karma. And by the power of this wonderful good karma, by the virtue of the three jewels, may we be well and happy, so that we can continue our practice of the Dharma, of meditation and wisdom, so that we will taste the fruit of awakening in this life itself. Meantime, may we be blessed with the courage and wisdom to aspire to attain at least stream winning itself in this life. By the virtue of these three jewels too, may our families be well and happy. May those close to us too be well and happy. May our friends, relatives, and those whom we know be well and happy too. May those who are practicing the Dharma to be well and happy and taste the fruit of the path in this life itself. And may those who have difficulties and who are lost to find their way to the true teaching in this life itself. May all beings be well and happy. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.